Okay, so welcome once again to our Office of Student Veteran Engagement YouTube interview series. We're making the most of our virtual environment by interviewing fantastic people across the university and in some cases across the country. Today, we've got Dr. Elaine McBeth. She is the director of the Master's Public Policy Program at William & Mary. And so, Dr. McBeth, thank you so much for being here today and telling us a little bit about the program. So if you could just describe the program and maybe even tell us a little bit about how you came to be its director.
Sure. The Master Public Policy Program was established in the early 1990s, and I've been at the college since the late 1980s. So I teach economics and public policy, and the public policy program is an offshoot of the economics department, looking at a combination of economics and quantitative analysis with political analysis and law, an idea that people need to know sort of how much and how many, but then how to get it done. And so it's that bridge between policymakers, people who have a grounding in maybe government or politics, what we think out there, and then the economists and the lawyers, which when we think about how a lot of work gets done at the government, as well as in nonprofits and in regulated industries, those cohorts, those people are all in that room typically when decisions are made, and this is a degree that spans across those disciplines.
Right.
So go ahead. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it can just help me understand where everybody at the table is coming from. And
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's really great. And I think there's a lot of really well-rounded William & Mary students, especially veterans, who would be interested in knowing the entire picture, coming from a background which maybe just had one part of it. And so I think that's really exciting. And you would say that it's a naturally good fit for military and veteran students because of some who have attended the program. Is that right?
Right. And so we have a flow of typically officers who come in service, as well as retired folks who are coming after. And we also are a host to an Army War College fellow every year. And because of these students that I've been around, we have been, I guess, trying to say that we recognize that, especially with the BA MPP program that we have a fair number of undergraduate vets who are graduating with their bachelor's degree, who may have another semester or semester and a half worth of benefits left, that don't really allow them to leverage that into an independent standalone degree. But this MPP could potentially be really worthwhile for them to add on to their undergraduate curriculum at William & Mary as a way to fully utilize those benefits in a way that really will give them that sort of capstone of getting their master's as they go back out into the world for their second half of their career.
Definitely. And, some of them have lots of experience with the United States government. Some of them have lots of experience with foreign governments. And it's always been impressive to me to hear the story when we get an incoming student about what they've been up to. And so I absolutely agree that they should maximize their GI Bill benefits. And if they're interested in the intersection of lots of different things, that this is a really cool way to learn how it all fits together. Can you tell us a little bit about some careers that Master's Public Policy alums have gone into, whether that is the government sector or even outside?
Sure. And I think that that's really the beauty of the Master of Public Policy, that when the Econ department was offered the ability to offer a Master's of Economics, we said, great, we'll take the money to develop a graduate program, but we want to do this program instead, because we really see this as being much more marketable and diverse and useful over the, I guess, the broader arc of a career. Going back to what I said previously about this combination of, quantitative analysis and applied practice, economics and quantitative analysis, political analysis and law, the how much and how many and how do you get it done, that's a framework that can be applied to everything from national security to environmental policy or education policy, healthcare, all these things. And all those topics are addressed internal to the government, but also in the private sector, in nonprofits. And so for me, this is a perfect world for your community, because while everyone has had experiences that give them a background, most folks are going to present themselves with some, several topics that are really important to them. And this allows them to pursue those topics, but also allows them to basically switch careers as they move forward in time, because the same skill sets can be applied to all these different areas. And so for me, the public policy degree has a lot of extra value in that we are not offering a degree in international affairs or a degree in environment or a degree in urban planning, but this more umbrella degree that allows you to move around to different career paths, different sectors as you go forward in your career.
Right. It's very, very cool, very dynamic. It makes me think of the master's degree in public policy folks that I've known who have done it alongside an MBA or a master's in education, or even researching through the Virginia Institute of Marine Science. So why do you think it's attractive for people to do dual degrees like that?
Right. So I think that for a lot of the dual degrees that, and some of the dual degrees have different reasons for why. So when we're thinking about the Masters of Education or the Marine Science, typically those students are really wanting to combine their topic areas with that foundation in economic analysis and law. With the folks who are doing an MBA, a lot of times they pursue the MBA maybe because it's the more well-known headline, master's degree. And then they realize that a lot of the work they want to do is not necessarily in some of the sub-disciplines of the MBA, but they really want to work maybe in a regulated industry, in the private sector maybe, but in a regulated industry. And understanding how the government interacts with the private sector is something that would be in our wheelhouse and not necessarily in the business school. So I think that what I see with our joint degree students, and we're the only school on campus that has an ability to do a joint degree with every other division on campus, is that the students recognize that this tool set of the public policy degree provides them with that sort of working advantage in that other sector that potentially they thought was going to be their home base.
Well, that is really cool that it's so flexible. This is the one. This is the only one that can, partner with the other ones, with any other one on campus. That is fantastic. So let's say I'm a current undergraduate student. Let's go back in time. I feel older from the last year that we had, so I'm really enjoying this chance to go back in time for a minute and say I'm a current undergraduate student veteran. Can I apply to the program if I'm not a government major? I mean, are there any kind of ways in that I should be cognizant of?
Oh, yeah. So the Master Public Policy program is developed to have people who are any major can apply. And so, I mean, we have an undergraduate public policy major. So, they obviously are in the public policy track, and public policy is this bridge between economics and government. So obviously those students as well. And for me, IR, I mean, I'm in Tyler Hall. I'm actually in my office in Tyler Hall. So any of the Tyler Hall majors, IR, public policy, government, or economics, are obviously natural paths into the public policy program. But in what I see as very typical William and Mary fashion, because this is an opportunity, it is an opportunity that has been developed to be welcome to any student, frankly. And so we have students who are science majors, English majors, Africana studies majors. I mean, people come from lots of different backgrounds, mainly because we see undergraduates picking a major based on the fun of picking what their major is, or the pragmatic aspect of, I've taken these other classes, maybe I'm coming into William & Mary with a year or two of transfer credits. How do I put together a major as expeditiously as possible so that I can graduate on time? Whatever is that path, whether it's the fun of exploration or the expeditious pragmatic path, all that's fine. And for us, any of those majors are good. I mean, for me, it's more, do you see this as a fit? Do you see this tool set as something that you would see as valuable to your career? And so you don't need to be a government major. Clearly, you can be anything. If you're thinking about doing the BA MPP, the accelerated program, so which means that during what would be your senior year or your final year, you'd be taking a blend of graduate classes and undergraduate classes. then it is helpful for you to have had some economics, maybe one or two government classes, but even for that, we're not expecting you to be an econ major or a government major, just having one or two of those areas. And most folks that we see do have the introductory econ sequence and do have one or two government classes. But even with that, we have the ability that the summer in between junior and senior year, there's an opportunity to take some electives if necessary. So I think I really see this as something to talk to me or one of the other policy advisors, regardless of your background.
Right. And I think that's super exciting because the student veterans do come in with transfer credits. You know, the branches are doing better with encouraging folks to take classes. Those classes add up. In a lot of cases, we've got folks who are coming in with, you know, either transferring in with an associate's degree or coming from another 4-year institution. And so they do sometimes have to think of the degree, which is most expeditious with my 2 years here. So it's great to see, you know, that being part of the planning here too. And I think it's a real strength of any classroom to have a lot of different backgrounds in there or a lot of different emphases for people. So it's the right place. That's what it sounds like to me. Is there anything else the undergrad student veteran can do now to prepare that you can think of or that some past students have done a great job of?
Yeah, I think that for me, it's more just, you know, raising your hand. Not, I mean, not literally raising your hand, but, you know, trying, and it's difficult now with COVID and people aren't, I guess, walking around the hallways and all that. But, you know, get a meeting with me or your advisor or another person in econ or government that does public policy and just explore. I mean, when I think about students who are thinking about doing different options, and this is, and especially for the accelerated degree, um, to me, there's lots of options that people have. They can do a double major, they could do an honors thesis, they could do an accelerated master's program. I mean, there's lots of options that you have. And typically when we are thinking, talking to our students about these options, we're really saying, you know, walk the hallways and talk to the faculty and, you know, try to flesh out for yourself what's the good fit for you. Because I mean, that's the bottom line, what we want. We want a good fit for you as an individual student. Obviously it's hard to walk the halls right now. But the, you know, whatever you can do to like reach out to faculty as you see it, I think that that's a good thing to do. And I think for me, with the veterans community, the piece that I said early on about, you know, this frequently this rush maybe to say, okay, I want to get on to my next section of my life. I want to finish this education piece. The rush to finish, leaving a semester or a little bit more of, you know, money on the table, that's not going to maybe be easy to convert to a second degree. I really think that for your community, thinking about, you know, leveraging that right now because you're here. If you're happy with your experience at William and Mary, spending one more year and having your master's degree. I mean, if you are thinking into going into civil service, government service, the MPP is the working degree at many agencies in the federal government. And starting with an MPP, you're starting at a higher GS level than you would, and more of a management track. And so I think that the output that you get, and the use of your benefits is a huge decision making piece for me that your crowd should be thinking about.
Absolutely. And that, you know, managing the months on the GI Bill is not something that one has to do by oneself. And I think
Yep.
that's vitally important, whether it's any given program or whether it's just planning, you know, what classes are offered when. I think that's a real challenge. And so we should use the academic advisors, and we should use subject matter experts like you to plan even beyond undergraduate bachelor's degree commencement. And so that's really exciting to me, you know, is being able to get a quick session with you to kind of run down the benefits and what's available to the student veterans. So if somebody did want to reach out, how could they get in touch with you or some of your colleagues in the Master's of Public Policy program?
Sure. Probably myself. My email is simply my last name, McBeth at wm.edu. Alex Josie, Professor Josie is also a core person. Paul Manna, Jen Meller. All of these faculty members have their email addresses are on our website, the public policy website. And if you go to our website, you can see interviews and profiles and news stories of some of our students and what they're doing. If you wanted to look more about that, and we do have some recorded information sessions that are longer format if you're really interested in doing more research before talking to other people. But just reach out. I mean, people will get back to you. I guarantee that. I mean, we all get about 100 emails a day, literally, in our inboxes. But someone will get back to you within a day or two, I'm sure. And we look forward to walking this journey together.
Excellent. And I'm going to include, you send me the information session and y'all's emails, and I'm going to include all of that when I send it to the student veterans. Well, Elaine, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to share about your program with the student veterans. And I'm really looking forward to hearing some success stories that come out of this. So thank you
Great.
for working with me and doing a little interview video.
Great. Thank you. Take care, everyone.